It is time now to know what's on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. And joining us is Chris Kende Wandu, CEO CKN News. Sheson will join us much later. CKN, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Friday.
Thank God it's Friday. It's nice to see you again.
Same here after a while. Yeah, well, let's head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the blueprint. Buhari's alarm on insecurity. Illegal arms inflow defied Nigeria's border closure. You find that story on the front page of the blueprint. We move now to the business day. Nigerians rise against $1.5 billion Port Harcourt refinery repair bill. Nigerians rise against $1.5 billion Port Harcourt refinery repair bill. That story on the front page of the business day. To the Daily Sun now. 6 attack planes coming in July to aid in security fight. Air Force pilots are already undergoing training for Super Tucano. That's the story on the front page of the Daily Sun. To the Daily Times now. NDLEA seizes 60 billion naira illicit drugs. NDLEA seizes 60 billion naira illicit drugs. You find that on the front page of the Daily Times. To the Daily Trust. AU Nigeria back WHO on use of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. Federal government expects 60 million more doses in weeks. Vaccine in all states except Kogi. Kano dismisses vaccine boycott. You'll find that story on the front page of the Daily Trust. To the Guardian newspaper now. Governors back use of AstraZeneca vaccine. Mom on petrol subsidy. EU WHO say vaccine safe, effective. Kano records low turnout for vaccination. That story on the front page of The Guardian. To the Leadership newspaper now. Military takes over airport security in northern states. Military takes over airport security in northern state. President Muhammadu Buhari blames Libya crisis for influx of illegal arms. Nigeria police, Afripol, Interpol join forces against illegal arms dealers. You find that story, those stories rather, on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. To the Nation now. Insecurity. Inspector General of Police accuses states of non-cooperation. Federal government only abnormal approach can end insecurity. NSA pushes for traditional rulers' involvement. You find the story on the front page of The Nation, and we'll be looking at that story shortly. To the national economy now. Underinvestment. Nigeria's oil production output may decline by 200,000 barrels per day. You find the story on the front page of the national economy. To the Nigerian News Direct, experts kick as excess crude account drops to $72.41 million. PTF, CPC monitor COVID-19 vaccine distribution. Story on the front page of the News Direct. To the Punch. Doctors threaten strike, says federal government not paying debt members insurance. Families of our members killed by COVID-19 received nothing. Association. We lost 17 of our members to COVID-19, 1,600 infected, says resident doctors. Doctors plan indefinite strike March the 31st. Kano vaccination suffers setback. Those stories on the front page of the Punch. To this day newspaper now. Southeast South leaders reject PDP's panel report, insist on power shift. Chieftain accuses party officials of sellout. Atiku begins e-registration of supporters group for 2023 contest. To the Vanguard newspaper. Banditry, secure your forest. Federal government charges states. Says all forests belong to state governments. Moves to beef up security around national parks. Federal government set up national social register to enroll poor, vulnerable persons. How Governor Keredolu used Land Use Act, Trade Cattle Tax Law of Ondo against headers in forests. So let's look at the story on the front page of the Nation newspaper, where the Inspector General of Police is accusing states of non-cooperation in the fight against insecurity. I wonder what you make of this statement. This is quite a weighty accusation.
Well, the IG has a right to say what he has. He must have some information at his disposal. Absolutely. Good. But even at that, I will ask, has he filed out why the states are not cooperating? Right. That is very key. If you are not doing the needful and they don't find that you are not doing what you're supposed to do, and you're giving them and their citizens the necessary protection that they deserve, then there's tendency for them not to cooperate. Don't forget also, within when you are talking about the state, you are looking at the governors, for instance. Yes. The governor has no control over the commissioner of police. Absolutely. Good. So they take directive from the federal government, from the IG, who is in Abuja, sitting in Abuja. If anything happens in the state, the governor cannot give a directive to the commissioner of police. Even if he does that, the commissioner will still have to get permission from the Inspector General of Police and the rest of that. And that is what we've been talking about, the centralization of some of this stuff, where we are talking about restructuring and the rest of them. Where we believe that the governors, who are the chief security officers of the state, should have a say in what happens in that. The governor doesn't control the police. He doesn't control the army. He doesn't control the civil defense. He doesn't even control any of the security. Even the little one that they're trying to put together, they say, "Oh no, we don't." You say state. Nobody's talking about the state police and the rest of them. But they are the highest contributing factors to issue of security. Absolutely. You see the states, the number of on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, the number of vehicles that the states donate to police. Most of they pay most of these police officers also salaries or stipends, whatever. You know that Lagos, for example, take Lagos for example. If you see what Lagos is doing with the RRS, they have gone as far as even providing helicopters and the rest of them, boats and the rest of that is state government. So, but when it comes to funding, oh, you want the state government to assist you. Yeah. But when it now comes to issuing of order and making sure that you hold back. You hold back. You understand? So who wants to do that? So it's a big challenge. To cut in, yeah. I mean, cooperation is a two-way. Very someone has to lead that. Someone has to drive that. So what kind of conversation is he having? Now he's saying that there has to be some level of local policing, local cooperation, community participation, and all of it. So who is driving that? Yeah, Vero, before you can have a handshake, I'll bring my hand. You have to stretch forth your hand. You know the way to do it like this. Yeah, that is where it goes. So, but if I bring mine and you're not bringing yours, then definitely there's no handshake. The issue is that even the people have lost confidence in the police. You know why? Because there is a disconnect between the people and security agencies. For instance, there have been instances where individuals have volunteered information to the police. And at the end of it, those information are now traced back to them, and most of them get harmed. So people are even very, very skeptical in volunteering information to security agencies, unlike what happens across the globe. If you're in UK, you're in the United States or major cities of the world, and you see anything happening, you have a number to dial. You call that number, and the response is swift. Immediately. They don't take, nobody tells the person who made the call and the rest of them. So first and foremost, what we need to do is to bridge the gap between the disconnect in terms of the approach and the first value people place on our security agencies. You don't tend to see, most often than not, at times, even on the highway, you see policemen, you just get afraid because you don't know what is going to happen next. And there have been instances, which is why what led to the NSAS protests, you remember the rest of them. There have been so many instances where the Nigerian people no longer trust the police. I'm not talking, well, we are talking of police now because it's IG. We are not talking of security agencies again, where is the police. What the IG needs to do now, he has been on the saddle for some time, and he may still leave very soon, although somebody has told us it's been extended to 2023. He may be extended. They didn't say it has been extended. Okay. They say, the man say, AGF say they have the right to extend it to 20. If you like, let them extend it to 2030. That is not my issue. The fact is that let him do what needs to be done across board. There have been so many level of insecurity. Don't forget that the principal responsibility of internal security of Nigeria lies with the police. Absolutely. Not the army, not the navy, not the air force. But now we have, because the police have not been able to handle situation, and that is why you are seeing bringing the armed forces to come and join in the to be able to fight. You know, that in itself does not speak well for us. But The IG of police should go around and go. Most of the governors definitely are not happy with the
what you're saying is he should try to win the confidence.
He should win the confidence
of the state government.
It is in the best interest of the state. If there's a level of cooperation between the police and the state, it's in their best interest because they don't have any other apparatus to be able to check and checkmate insecurity within their states. So the only one they have is the police. So it is in the best interest of the state and the governors to. But if the police and the hierarchy are not doing what they are doing, and the governors are not finding some level of confidence in the police, then there's a big challenge. We should also be able to make it possible. That was the time that the vice president came out after the NSAS or during the SI. You know, remember that he said, "Oh, governors should take over security within their state, do one-on-one with commissioners and rest of them." Are the commissioners taking advice from the governors? All they do is that they used to have security meetings every month or there. But each of the state governor, I know that they used to have security meetings. But at the end of it, a governor cannot give a directive to a commissioner of police, talk less of the AIG in charge of the zone. So that is where the problem is. So the Inspector General of Police, the box is stuck on his table now. He has to prove to Nigerians and the state, win back their confidence and make sure that at any given point in time, when they call on him and his officers, they'll be up and running.
But then the governors do have a major role to play when it comes to issues of, they are said to be the chief security officers of the state. Right. But in galvanizing that support, talking about security to that level where they can speak with traditional rulers who know these people, who know the community. That is what the Inspector General of Police is saying. But then if they are to do something, perhaps they should start pushing now that we must have some level of authority to be able to say we have to be able to handle these things. Maybe they should start thinking outside the box. Remember that the vice president once said some time ago that the governors need to start thinking outside of the box to tackle these issues of insecurity.
Are the governors not thinking out of the box? Look at the Southwest. There's a Amotekun. It's part of thinking out of the box. Even before I met Amotekun.
But there are still talks about they should give the Amotekun the opportunity or the authority to bear arms.
That is the same thing we are saying.
But how are they pushing all of these things? That is the issue with a lot of persons.
Are you talking the
on the part of the governor?
No, they have.
How are they pushing for?
In the Southwest, they've enacted the law.
To bear arms?
No, not bearing arms. Establishing those.
That is settled, but now they're asking that they should be able to bear arms.
Don't forget, it's the same police that is pushing that they should not bear arms. It is the police. The police feel that the security agencies, those at the local levels, have no right to start bearing arms. The arms can be misused. It's possible, and the rest of it is possible. I see that, but I believe that there should be some level of connect. For goodness sake, there is no way the number of, we have about over 300 and something thousand policemen, let's say maximum 400,000, policing 200 million people. Is it possible? It's not possible. And out of that 400,000, close to, you can say about 10%, 20% are be assigned to our guys, the politicians and the rest of them and their families. So might just be left with maybe 250,000 to police 200 million. It's not possible. That is where so when you're talking of cooperation, that is where I'm looking at, where the police should drive the narrative, where we can have this localized police system, where we can have the vigilantes and rest of them, who will be working hand in hand with the police to make sure that there's security. We've tried it with the civil JTF. Yes, in the north, and it worked in the northeast. It worked, and it's still working. Most of them are embedded with the army and other security agencies to fight insurgency. Those are the kind of discussion I should be looking at. I'm looking at as far as the states are concerned.
Perhaps they have their concerns with regards to that.
Which is what?
They can, well, whatever, abuse of power, abuse of weapons,
abuse of abusing power.
Right.
They are talking of abuse of power. Are policemen not killing people? What cause NSAS? Is it not police? Have you still seen that you are on the street, a policeman say come down, you say this, he slaps you, and nothing happened. A policeman will tell you, I'll deal with you, I can kill you here, nothing that will happen. And that is it. So are they not misusing the arms? Are some policemen not selling arms, not handing over gun to armed robbers? Have you seen it?
Right.
Didn't you read of even a security, a soldier that was selling arms or sending arms and uniform to some bandits in the northeast recently that was arrested with his girlfriend? Of course, within every 12 there will always be Judas. There's no way about it. But that does not necessarily mean that we should throw the baby
with the bad water.
That is what we're still talking about. That is the issue. So the police have their work cut out for them. Very, very well. I have always advocated that their welfare should be taken care of, their family should be taken care of, everything concerning the police. But while we're also taking care of their welfare, let also the police do what they're supposed to do. Let them win the confidence. Let me make sure that this morning, if I have a challenge and I call the police station, you won't tell me, oh, there's no fuel in my car. you understand that kind of a thing? Or I go to the police station and make a report, and I always have this challenge that whenever our security agents, especially the police, when they go on outside duties, they come at best. United Nations, peacekeeping, name them. Why is it that when they come back home,
when it comes to the home front,
it becomes a problem?
A huge one.
There's a problem there.
We have to tackle it head on.
We just have to.
Let's look at this story on the front page of the Punch. In the time of the pandemic now, doctors are threatening to go on strike, saying that the federal government did not pay dead members' insurance. You would recall that we recorded a number of deaths with regards to doctors on the front lines. And at a time such as this, we are in a pandemic. We can't afford to have them going on strike at this time. They've been making several demands, and they're saying that government has not been paying attention.
It's not just making demand. They've been making sacrifices. They've been sacrificing a lot. They've been sacrificing. They put their life on the line for Nigerians. Most of them, as I said, from the paper we heard, about 70 doctors or so died from COVID. It could be more. But the problem has always been the Nigerian government don't ever respect agreements. Why did we have a 1-year strike by ASU?
ASU, yes.
You remember that they just said they are about going on strike again? Just recently, just yesterday or thereabout, there was a press statement that they may go on strike again because the agreement they reached with the federal government have been breached.
Yes.
The same thing with the doctors. Now, these are the people that have put their lives. How much is this money we're talking about? How much is this money that we are talking about? Is it up to what our leaders are stealing and embezzling on a daily basis? Is this up to their allowances on a weekly or monthly basis? We are not talking of all the other etc. thing as we call as you say it in Igbo, etc. thing. These are people that now a minister came up some time ago to say that, oh, we have enough doctors. If they want to go out, they should go out and rest.
Well, he actually came out to say that his statement was misconstrued here.
Vero, there is no statement that is made by a Nigerian official that will not deny that he didn't make. There are so many. Even the NSA, the one I said recently that we saw on video, he came out again to start rewarding what he said. And at the end of it all, who will be is always the press, the media, we. We were misquoted by the press and the rest of them. So, but what I'm saying in essence, this is a very, very big challenge. We have moved from the first, second, going third wave. Other countries are moving on. If you see the way we are not even talking about how to roll the rollout of vaccines and how we're going to get more. We are shouting, oh, we just have barely about how many? 3 million vaccines in a country of 200 million people. We've not even scratched it at all. Other countries are going ahead to seek ways very fast, and look at what has happened. Once President Biden came in, see how that of America has skyrocketed and the rest of them. Some other countries are shutting down now because of the problem. Whether it's rumor or not. Oga Tanzania, we saw what happened, even though they say it was heart attack and the rest of them. It means that this is not the time. Whatever these doctors need, we need to give them. Is it the insurance? They say their dead members are not, their families are not paid. Do we have to get when you don't?
And we know what this can mean for those who are on the front line.
Of course,
not dedicating their time.
That's what when it gets to that, you know that your life is not secured, and if anything happens to you, well, your family will not be taken care of. The dedication to do the job will not be there. You won't have the wherewithal. You won't have the confidence. It's like a soldier going to the war front. If he knows that he's well kitted, he has all the necessary things to work with, and if anything happens to him, his family he will go to, we will face over. But when you find a situation where, if it happens, you are on your own, bros. When the guy is a bullet, he go dodge. So that is what is happening, and we don't need to go. With the doctor, we cannot afford our medical personnel to go on strike at this critical time. We have a crisis, and I'm looking at it from also the COVID, the PTF. If the federal government is not doing, what is the PTF doing? There's also the COVID this and that raised so much funds. Yeah, for COVID. I think also some of those funds that they raise, these are where we need to look at. They have to also start looking at frontline workers also. Not just talking about whether we are doing some of these are the people that need those money most. For me. So those are the areas. So there should be some level of collaboration between the government, federal government, and all these other agencies and the private sectors, so that we can be able to collaborate and make sure that the welfare of the doctors are taken care of, so that they can take care of us. If there's any break in the chain, within the chain, then we're going to run into problems.
But why is it so difficult or challenging for us to handle issues of health, take it up seriously? It has always been a question, knowing how vital this aspect is to any society.
You know. Do they know?
Of course they know.
You think they
fall ill.
Okay. They know. If they know, they don't do what they are doing. And that was what we said. And that is why some of us, well, we may say blessing in disguise, the issue of COVID came. Because it stopped most of them.
So it means we haven't learned our lesson.
They haven't. If they had learned their lesson, we wouldn't be seeing that on the front page of Punch newspaper. They have not. They have not learned any lesson. I think there's an ease of people are traveling now. That is why they have relaxed again, because they have the opportunity. They have having to be seeing some of them and their wives going abroad to be taking vaccines and the rest of them. Even when we don't even know when we're going to take out. Are we not frontline workers?
We are.
Journalists, are we not frontline workers?
We are.
Have we taken? Have they given me? That is the issue we are talking about. So what I'm saying is that our politicians they've learned nothing. And they will not learn. Because of the kind of selfish leaders we have. They think first and foremost about themselves. They don't think of others. That's the average politician. And that's the mentality of every average politician in Nigeria. It's quite unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation. But what can we do? We can only but continue to appeal to their... What we are doing now is appeal to their conscience. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? We are appealing to their conscience. Biko, please help us do this and the rest of that. It is quite saddening that on a daily basis, we see our leaders going outside the country, see the way things work, and they enjoy those facilities.
It's difficult to implement here.
They come back here and they don't implement. What will you call that? Is it selfishness or wickedness? Or what do we call that? But that is where we find ourselves. But once again, what I'm saying in essence is that let the issue of the doctors, not just allowances for their dead and themselves, there are a lot of demands. Total welfare. All those within the health sector, not just doctors, nurses. You even know that a nurse is even more exposed than a doctor. Yes. Because on a daily basis, the nurse that is one-on-one with the patient.
Yes.
Yes, the doctor come, look at the patient, makes prescription and rest of them. But it's the nurse in itself that deals on a daily basis. You go to check your whatever pressure and rest of them. So they're even more exposed. So the whole we should be talking about the totality of the health sector, not just the doctors now.
Right.
And we need to do the needful.
And what picture do you see if something is not done? Because you're saying an indefinite strike.
You know the way we always go about it.
We'll have a conversation.
You know that you have, you know this, the way this thing works now. Are you just asking me? You know the way this thing works. We'll have a conversation, few days or 24 hours to the deadline. The Minister of Labour will call the union. Let's sit down and discuss. We'll start discussing and the rest of them. Is it not the same to NLC? We talked about petrol. We talk about electricity.
So they can't put their feet on the ground to say... the agreement has to be done now, or else nothing.
They find it difficult. The only people that tried something very, very close was ASU. And they stuck to their gun that if this thing doesn't, if we say, oh, this is what we got, ASU say no. If this is it, they say no at the end of it. But the problem for me is that when two elephants fight, it's only the grass that suffers. Look at ASU. Most of the students in the federal and state institutions, universities, lost one full academic session.
Yeah.
And our leaders were not concerned. It didn't concern them. You know why? Most of their children are abroad. If they had their children at University of Ibadan, University of Lagos, LASU, and the rest of them, they will definitely, if those children are at home for 1 year, disturbing them, eating 3 times, 5 times a day, and eating up the food in the house like those other ones are doing, they will quickly make sure that ASU is, they listen to ASU and resolve this. So those are the issues. So what I still believe and I still advocate that the issues raised by the doctors should be looked into. And not only the doctors, every sector of our economy.
Absolutely.
Because it is affecting our growth. And it's making us a laughingstock in the Committee of Nations. Have you heard of any country since this COVID, that any country where doctors threaten to go on strike? They make sure that they make sure that everything they need and require. Before this, the first why they wanted to go on strike was not even because of payment and rest of it. They said they didn't have the necessary this thing to work with, personal protection equipment to work with. That was the first point they made. When every country was getting theirs, we didn't even have any to work with. And they say, we're not asking us to pay us a salary or whatever. Just give us the equipment to work with. And that took us a long time before we could be able to achieve that. Nigeria defied I think it was Babangida that said it, that, let me not repeat what he said, but it's just quite unfortunate.
Right. Chris Kende, want to see your CKN News. Thank you for your time. Unfortunately, Sheson Kwade couldn't join us on this session, but thank you very much.
We'll continue talking about Nigeria and remain positive. God bless Nigeria.
Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Have a lovely weekend.
You too.